What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So we're gonna do some illustration work today. I feel like a lot of my art videos lately have been a lot of painting, but I do other mediums. Like painting was literally my least favorite medium, but I got to work with some ink, so I basically used some random black pens. I believe they're the Artist Loft illustration pen in the size 0.5 more than likely, or a Sharpie to outline everything. And now I'm just using Crayola markers. I really just wanted to do something that I felt like was simple yet effective, if that makes sense, because usually when I do illustration work I'll do color pencils, and then that's a lot of layering and blending and stuff, but I kind of just want to do a different technique, and I kind of like it. I feel like this is going to be my new illustration technique for when I'm doing comics and stuff like that. So this is definitely a political comic that I did literally months ago. I'm talking about March or February type. But yeah, I'm just now getting to the point where I'm editing this video, but it just really just felt it felt called for me to do this type of comic, because I feel like it's just people in Memphis just checking the hell out of this man because he needs to be checked. But yeah, that's kind of what I was going for growing up. I loved just reading and seeing the different comics in the newspaper, and I feel like that's kind of very much influenced my style. I've read books, I've done different things, and I've looked at different things when it comes to being an artist or different art pieces, but for some reason comics and newspapers have really just stuck out to me, and I would love to actually make comics for magazines or newspapers, or shit, if I just do it for myself, just because I feel like when it comes to being an artist and a creative, I kind of feel like it's our responsibility. I mean, everybody's not gonna do it, but it feels important for me to really just talk about what's happening, because we can't turn a blind eye to what's going on in our world, because once we turn that blind eye and we just try to ignore everything, the problem is going to get worse and worse and worse. And I know I saw a video earlier where somebody was connecting the point where a lot of black people or just other people in the United States that has been fighting for Palestine to be free and for them to stop this fucking genocide, because that's what it is. I don't understand how anybody else sees it differently. First off, why would anybody literally want to kill everybody? That's literally pure hatred. I don't even understand what else it could be. But I feel like a lot of people don't even realize the connection, because none of us are free until we're all free. And that's something that has stuck with me for the last couple of years, because if you really think about it, just because you're not being affected by a certain problem or something doesn't mean that you can't. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people need to get through their skull, because I hate to say it, but just because that genocide in Palestine is happening and it's over there, do y'all not realize who is helping fund this stuff? Me, for real. And it's if they ever wanted to, they would try to make that shit happen here. And I don't think people are really thinking about that, because it's do you see what this country has done for years on years on years, centuries? I'm talking about centuries. They have killed so many people in this country and across the world for foolish ass reasons, selfish ass reasons that are usually just pushed by pure hatred. And that's kind of crazy to me. And I want things to get better, and it's I'm trying to figure out how can we stop this shit from happening. How are we supposed to use our voices? And lately I've just been using my voice by just informing other people about what is going on, because a lot of people they don't know what's going on. If they don't see it on social media, they have no idea what's going on, and a lot of them aren't really tuned a lot of times to those political TikToks or feeds and stuff like that. But just understand that the things that are happening before us are going to take years to resolve. The changes being made to our legislation, pulling back DEI, this kidnapping of immigrants, people who are actually allowed to be here. And even if not, why would you kidnap them and send them to a crazy ass motherfucker jail or kill them? That's what I'm not getting. People can't, I can't justify that. I can't justify that, because it's not right. But it's just crazy that you have to be aware. And our awareness, and actually just reading about the history, I've been really just focused on learning a lot of stuff about our history, or just the history of America and other nations and stuff, because they really are trying to like play on the fact that a lot of people don't know what's going on. But it's like, if you look and you read the history, you see the correlation, you see the parallel. And like, once you see that parallel, I feel like you can see how you can like bring more awareness to stop that from happening. But you got to be woke about it first. Like, and I'm not even talking about on like no like weird ass shit. Like, you have to be aware of it, because if you're not aware of it, you're not going to know what's going on until it's too late. And that's why I don't want a lot of people to experience. So on another note, I kind of want to just talk about like art mediums and stuff. So mediums are basically what you use to create a drawing or illustration or art piece in general. And I want to talk about people thinking that sometimes you have to have the most expensive process or products to actually be like a good artist. Yes, there are some high-end products that like, you know, are really good quality and can help your artistry. Like, there are some other like more affordable products that I feel like can do the same thing. Like these Crayola markers, like I just love how they look and stuff, and they're vibrant, and like you just have to figure out how to use them and like incorporate them into your style. Even when it comes to like oil pastels, my favorite oil pastel brand is literally the Crayola oil pastels, and they're like $6-7 and probably like $10 at this point. But I just feel like, don't try to force yourself to buy all these crazy expensive products, especially if you're experimenting, because you know there was a point in time when like after I had graduated college, like I started kind of experimenting, because I really hadn't had the chance to really just do art that I wanted to do in the years. And that's mainly because like, you know, I was taking like full credit, like I was taking like at least 15 credits every single semester, and it was a point where I was taking 18. And it's like I really didn't have that wiggle room a lot of times to really just do things that I wanted to do, especially with my artistry, because I was also just burnt out and stuff and just tired. And then like, you know, once I crossed and I became president of my sorority, I was VP of communications for MPAC. Like, I was holding a lot of titles, and like I was doing a whole lot of stuff. And it's like I really didn't have that extra time, because I had to be at meetings, or I had to help plan stuff, like be at events. Like I had to do so many different things, and it's like I really kind of let my art just like slip away from me for a second, and like I hate it. But like once I graduated and I had like a little bit of like wiggle room to just breathe for a second, like it felt really good, because I was creating stuff that made me feel good about myself, and like actually made me feel like I'm an artist for real. And I felt like I was starting to find my style, because I remember my last semester I took what did I take? I took like regular illustration, basically an illustration class that was more so like 2D art and stuff, and like traditional mediums. And my art teacher kind of asked me, he was like, is this kind of like your style? And like when he asked me that, and it always like just comes back to me, is that I really didn't know how to answer that. Like, yes, that was my style, but I feel like where I was then versus where I am now, I definitely have more of a like solidified style, and like a little like, you know, artistry twist to it, to all the pieces that I do. And that feels good. But like that comes with me taking like practice, like doing things for just practice, you know, using cheaper mediums, because I didn't have the money to really go and buy expensive stuff. I was using colored pencils after a while that I had from like high school, like the ones I just never finished using, because I really didn't use color pencils like that. Like I was using a lot of watercolor and like ink or pen, and I used those for years. And then, you know, I was using oil pastels at the beginning, Crayola oil pastels that really weren't that much, and you know, I was doing a lot of stuff with that. And I feel like when you're at the experimenting phase when it comes to your artistry, you can get nice products, but I feel like if you really don't know what you're doing and you're just trying to like practice and just try stuff, go for cheaper mediums. You know, if you want to recreate the piece in the better medium, go do that. But it's like you just want to get in the habit of trying something and not being afraid to fail. Like there have been plenty of art pieces that I look at and I'm like, bro, that shit was ugly as hell. And it's like I covered it up, and that's okay, because you know, it's a process. Not everything you create is going to be a masterpiece, and I feel like that's just something you really truly have to accept. And I feel like that's something that I've had to accept, because even when it comes to my makeup, like, you know, you don't know how frustrating it is to do a look and absolutely hate it, because you're just like, what is this? And it's not that like, you know, you just lost your touch. It's just sometimes when you try stuff, like, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna like it, because if you liked everything, like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the energy would be different. It would be hard to kind of figure out like what pieces you truly love. And I just love doing stuff that just kind of just touches base with my just like history at this point, and like what I feel like is associated with my childhood or just growing up in the culture around me. And I don't know, I am excited to see where this goes because once again I'm working on 10 million different pieces and I'm using a whole bunch of different mediums, but I feel like I'm gonna start doing some collages too. And I do want to make a zine, so I probably will try to make a zine before the end of this year. I'm praying I can do it before the end of this year or at least by my birthday next year. But yeah, stay tuned for that. So I really want to do some art pieces that are kind of inspired by like what y'all want to see. So bless you. That was shut up. But okay, so comment if you want to see me do another political like comic, or do you want me to do a color pencil illustration that's like a portrait. So say it down below, please, because I want to create stuff, and sometimes I just like don't know what to do, and like sometimes I just want to push myself. So even if you have different like ideas and stuff, let me know, because girl, I need to practice my art, especially since school's almost over with. Like I'm actually gonna have time to pour into my artistry, because it's hard being an art teacher and like an artist outside of school. Because it's like I'd be so burnt out just teaching in general. Like it's a lot, it's a high energy job, and like you have to constantly like try to regulate emotions of a whole bunch of people and yourself. And sometimes I just be like, I just want to exist when I get home. Like I literally just want to sit there in silence sometimes because there's so much. But bless you. But I've been working on my art more. I've been trying to do like at least one session a week, which I mean that doesn't sound like a lot, but like when you're exhausted from doing 10 million different things, like picking up a paintbrush, picking up a pen, a color pencil, a marker, whatever, sometimes like I don't even want to do that. Like I just want to sit in bed and just try to rest as much as possible. But yeah, I want to, like I said, release that zine. So I want it to be like a mixture of a couple different things. Like I want to write poems and have it in there. I might write like a short essay, because it's so funny because I wrote a lot growing up. I was in AP classes, I was in honors classes, and I remember I wrote this essay because we had to write it, and I ended up winning the little competition or whatever for like the whole city of Memphis. And it's like I also like remember all the times when like I wrote like short stories or little essays and stuff in class, and I actually enjoy writing. And like lately I've just been feeling like I'm just writing some stuff about a couple different topics, like some topics about like things happening right now, or like things I'm interested in. I've written a lot of stuff about at-risk youth and how the arts can help them. So I feel like that might be a topic I talk about again, because I wrote an essay like my senior year of high school. It was for my dual enrollment English class. I wrote an essay about that, and then I think my sophomore year of college, like I had to do a presentation on something, and the issue I picked was basically the same issue. And it's something that I just like to, talk about, because one, I love art, but it's like, I've also been someone who's had really bad anxiety and depression, and I didn't have like a lot of self-love or like confidence at certain times in my life, and it's like art really helped me. Like I feel like some people like they use it as an escape, and like sometimes that's what you need, just something to just get your mind off of things. But I also feel like releasing energy in that way can help so much, because artistry is just like really it's just a product of like energy and creation, and just doing whatever feels right. Like if you're feeling bad, it's been times when like I've been feeling like shit, and like I make an art piece and it's like a sad art piece, but like it helps me just process what I'm thinking about. And I feel like that's just a technique or a tool that a lot of people could use, especially with what's going on right now. Like there's so much going on around us, and sometimes you just need to doodle, or sometimes you just need to color, and maybe it doesn't necessarily have a meaning. Maybe you're just doing the coloring sheet, but it just helps you get your mind off of things every now and then, which I feel like is necessary in today's world. But yeah, I'm really excited for this new chapter of my life. Do I know when the world is going to happen? Yes, but no, at the same time, like I'm really just along for the ride. Like I'm just trying to make it the best that I can, and we're gonna see what happens. Felt like lately when it comes to like my art, I've really been getting better at like creating scenes and like environments, if that makes sense. Because for a while, like when I really first got back into like doing art and like trying to figure out my style, I would literally just do a plain background. Like maybe if I'm doing a portrait, like I'm not going below like the shoulders really. So it's like I had things, but they weren't necessarily involved with things like going, there was nothing really around them, if that makes sense. But now I've been trying to like build up scenes, so trying to think about what is in the foreground, what's in the background, what's in the middle ground. So like right here, like the people, that's the foreground. The like, I mean, yeah, that's the foreground. I got so confused for a second. The water and to like the little rocks and stuff, that would be kind of like the middle ground, and then like the buildings would be, or the sky, like that would be the background. And it's just something like I have to be more conscious about when I'm creating stuff, is to figure out how can I really make this a scene and not just feel like it's just a random object on the paper or on the canvas. So if you're in the Memphis or the Mid-South area and you're looking for like artsy stuff to do, I would definitely suggest going to the Memphis Brooks Museum of Art. I think on Saturdays it's free for like a certain time. And then like if you have your like a Snap card, I think you might get a certain position off. I can't remember if that's that place or somewhere else, but definitely check out their websites. I love them. I haven't been in like a little second and I want to go back. But I'll probably say that for like summertime. That way I could really just spend like a couple hours in there and like really look at the pieces. I don't know, it just feels like it's inspiring and like really just motivates you when you go and look at some artwork and just see what other people have been doing. Like it really is like a good technique if you feel like if you're in like this like weird like period where you don't really know what to do with your art. And then there's also the Dixon Museum. I haven't been before, but I think it might be free. I can't remember. Like I wanted to take my kids there, but like field trips, like I cannot. But definitely check them out too. And there's an art store like in Midtown. It's the Art Center. It's like literally off of Union and not too far off of McLean, or not McLean, it's like not too far from over there. But I feel like they have some good price stuff, and they have some different art pieces that, like art supplies that you can't necessarily get at like Michael's or stuff like that, or Hobby Lobby. Like I usually shop at Michael's for a majority of my art supplies just because I get a teacher discount. I think it's like 10% off of everything, every single purchase. So that saves a little bit of money, especially if I'm cashing out trying to like stock on my supplies and stuff. Like I need that discount and I'd be so appreciative of it. And then definitely make sure you're signed up for the reward system. Like they always have coupons, or majority of the time they have coupons unless they have a sale going on. But if you have their rewards account, like you literally get money back for like all the things you buy. And it's not that hard to, like if you're an artist or like someone who like buys a lot of crafty stuff and whatnot, like you will literally like earn like vouchers like probably almost every other time you go. So I feel like that's a good system, and it's honestly a little bit cheaper than you buying stuff online. Like there are some things that I would buy online, but it's just easier just to walk up into Michael's and go up in there and then get my stuff and go. So to piggyback off of the just topic of art supplies, usually when I go to an art store and I'm getting paper for me to like draw on or whatever, I'm usually going to either get mixed media paper. They also have acrylic paper, and this is like the Michaels brand, and like other brands sometimes have it. Or if I'm doing like color pencils, I would get one of the like toned papers. Usually I'll get like the toned tan one, but I've used like the gray one before and I've used a black one before, but I like the tan one the best. And then when it comes to like painting and stuff, if I'm not getting like an actual canvas like with the size and stuff, I'll get a canvas panel, because I feel like those are also a lot easier to work with, because I don't have to like worry about trying to like paint the size and stuff, and then like I can like work on my desk. Because when it comes to like those bigger pieces, like I have to like sit on the floor and like paint, and like that's not the most comfortable thing. Like I can make it work or whatever, but it's just 10 times easier to be able to like lay the canvas like flat on the table and like work on it like that. Okay, so if you want a little tip for coloring and whatnot, what I usually do is I will 9 times out of 10, like not necessarily for this like example, but I will get a base color, like whatever I want like the majority of that object or like, you know, person or whatever to be, and then I will get a lighter color to highlight, and then I will get a darker color to add shadow. And this is another piece that I worked on. I literally just like sketched, well, I sketched like the people out, but like literally the background I kind of just freehanded. I was just like figuring out shit, but I love this drawing, and I have not drew anything in a little second, and I need to definitely draw something again because this was a moment. Like the style, I just love my style now. Like I feel like I really have developed it, and I just love to see it. So, you know, if you want to see me draw anything in particular, like let me know. What some people on my TikTok were saying I should make a coloring book. If you want to see a coloring book, let me know for real, because I will legit do that. But yeah, I'm just erasing all of the pencil marks because I want to take a picture just so like I can have it like a digital like file of it, because you can use the Adobe Scan app, and that's usually what I do whenever I'm trying to like take pictures of my arts. But this is what it looks like up close, and I love y'all so much. Now I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.